who have been planning for this day for a long time. It's like a dream come true. But before heading out to discover the legendary city, let's make time for breakfast. The cooks have prepared a wide selection of foods: coffee and tea, fruit and yogurt, pastries and eggs. There's something here for everyone. And the relaxed atmosphere in the dining room is a sign of an excellent day to come. Docked at the Quay of the Seven Martyrs, we're right next to all the main sights of Venice. A few minutes walk and we're already at the heart of the city, the entrance to the stunning St. Mark's Square. While we have all seen this landmark piazza in photos, paintings, films, and on TV, seeing it in person for the first time is an inspiring moment. St. Mark's Square is the historic heart of Venice. The city was governed from the Doge's palace, and St. Mark's Basilica is one of the most spectacular religious buildings in all of Italy. Unfortunately, its splendor is somewhat hidden today by the restoration work being carried out. Since its inception in the 6th century, Venice has faced a near continuous stream of challenges: barbarian invasions, wars, flooding, pollution, and now pigeons. The birds have become a real problem as their corrosive droppings cause damage to the buildings. But through the various threats, the municipality has always found practical solutions. Buildings are being restored in an effort to preserve this extraordinary, timeless city. The square is named after St. Mark the Evangelist, whose relics are kept in the high altar. The story of these relics is really quite incredible, involving thievery, intrigue, and a quick escape. At the time, it was important for major cities to be associated with a saint, as was the case with Rome and St. Peter. The body of St. Mark lay in Egypt, but of course the Christians in Alexandria refused to give it up. Two merchants from Venice stole the saint's body and hid it among their cargo of pork so that they wouldn't be searched by the Muslims who guarded the Alexandria gates. St. Mark has always been symbolized by a winged lion. The symbol appears all over the city, including here atop St. Mark's column, at the base of which were held public executions. It is also visible on the clock tower on the north side of the square. Just below the lion, on each side of the statue of the Virgin, the time is indicated with movable panels, like on a modern watch. But this clock's technology dates back to the late 1400s. It is said that when the clock was completed, its creator was to ensure that he wouldn't go on to reproduce the design elsewhere. To take a break and appreciate the ambiance of St. Mark's Square, we find a table on the terrace of Cafe Florian for a coffee and pastry. Opened in 1720, this is the oldest cafe in Venice, with a house orchestra that plays great Italian classics for its clientele. Cafe Florian is tucked under the arcades of the Procurati Nuove. Built in the 17th century, this was the home of the procurators of the Basilica. It faces the Procurati Vecchi, or Old Procuracies, which was built a century earlier. The two buildings are connected by the Correr Museum, which stretches across the west end of the square and was built during Italy's occupation by Napoleon. We leave the square to wander through the surrounding streets and canals. The city is made up of 100 little islands connected by 400 tiny bridges. The houses, palaces, and churches are built on thousands aristocracy and rich merchants constructed their grandest palaces, the oldest ones dating back to the